Yeah, so job market, it's bad, and I'm sure you've seen a million other videos like this. End video. Nah, but for real though. Yeah, it's just as bad as you've been seeing everywhere. This is supposed to be my channel to kind of get things off my chest, so I figured with all the struggles I've been having with it recently, why not? Why not just yap about this for a little bit and hopefully share some experiences with people who are also dealing with it and know that they aren't alone. Also, the irony is not lost on me that there's probably Overwatch gameplay over this. Yes, I am unemployed. But yeah, I guess some of the bad things about it is it's just really impossible to get your foot in the door somewhere now to start a career, not just like a job. You could probably, if you try hard enough, get a job at like Walmart or something right now, but I can't get a job at anywhere to try and start and build myself up to something more than just retail or, just like a minimum wage job. I think it's just kind of an extension of just us being told our whole lives that a degree will kind of solve everything. Go to college. You need a degree. You got to do this, and that. Or, like study computer science, study code. And everyone followed that advice. And, it was good advice. It worked for people in the past. But unfortunately, since everybody went to go get a degree, now degrees are kind of worthless. I mean, master's, not really, but a bachelor's degree doesn't really mean that much. It's not completely worthless, but it feels like the equivalent of like a high school diploma now if you're trying to get in anywhere to work. I think this is like stressed a lot by the fact that every company just wants some insane ideal candidate who can do like 3 jobs at once for minimal pay. And they're just generally scared to hire. Every job needs like 5 sets of interviews to go through now. And then you need like to go through application or test after test. And this kind of leads up to each job having these insane experience requirements that no one can end up beating. A lot of times now, while I'm looking for an entry level position because, that's what I'm trying to get into. I'm a young person trying to get into, start a career. They could require multiple years of experience. How the hell am I supposed to get that experience? I mean, there's internships, but I can't go back in time and go on an internship. I'm just screwed. And even applying to like jobs that would typically would considered, I don't know, quote unquote pit stop jobs, like working at a Walmart, working in food, or just doing something that isn't related to your career and your degree. It's hard now. Like I've seen people getting denied from freaking McDonald's. Like that's ridiculous now at this point. The average experience now is that you're going to send 100 applications for maybe a single interview. I think I've applied to like I can't even count, probably a few hundred positions, and I've maybe gotten 4 interviews if I'm lucky. But even then, it was like one of them was for a job that they didn't even ended up needing me. And one I'm still waiting on. I just haven't heard anything back, which I'm just like, okay, well, I'm just screwed. It also doesn't help that resumes just don't matter anymore since every applicant is just making theirs with AI. I try not to because I don't want to use AI and do all that bullshit. That's a topic for a different video, but it doesn't help that because all the applicants are using AI and being able to pump out personalized resumes and cover letters and all that, there's no humans even reading them anymore. It's all just being filtered by an AI that's not even really reading them. There's probably like a 1% chance that your resume is even read by like a real human being. And it feels like there's less and less jobs every day with more layoffs due to AI replacing them, which good luck with that. And a horrible economy that's outside of our control. I'm really scared that we're going to be a lost generation of job finders because once things kind of pick up and go back to normal and companies actually want to hire and train their employees and bring in new grads and do all that stuff, they're going to want younger people that are more fresh out of college and have the more relevant recent skills. And we're just going to be left out to dry with no upward trajectory or ability to get in. I guess this leads into my situation. I'm going on a year on basically being unemployed. I kind of have a job, but I'll get into that later. I went to college for 4 years for computer engineering with a really good GPA, and it was at a really good college, but that still wasn't enough to make myself stand out. Since I wanted to like focus on my studies and get good grades, I would just go to class, do well, and then spend a little time I could relaxing, thinking that my hard work in class would end up mattering. However, I made the grave mistake thinking that's kind of all I had to do. I should have been begging for internships since freshman year, networking constantly, and making my whole life around a career search while I'm balancing classes. The only people I really know from college who have a stable entry level job right now are the people that did that. I didn't even really end up thinking about internships till like my sophomore summer. And even then, that felt like it was too late. I also apparently should have been building my own projects and portfolio while I'm in class, by the way. That's like another thing too. A lot of like these videos and like job gurus will say like, oh, you should be building a project right now if you don't have a job. But I don't have the passion to do that for literally nothing. I just don't have an idea that I want to code or create. And it's basically just unpaid training for these companies. The whole point of getting a job is that I can work on a project and end up contributing to something. Why am I doing this for basically nothing? Right now, I apply to dozens and dozens of openings per week and have maybe gotten like 2 interviews recently. And one was for something that wasn't even in my field. And that's the one that ended up just kind of ghosting me, which I have no idea how that went. It's to the point where a denial email doesn't even phase me anymore. I used to be kind of like depressed because I was like, I would apply to like a big company and I'd be like, oh man, I'm so sad that I didn't get the ability to kind of work here. And then now I just kind of apply to everything and I'm like, denial? Tell me something I haven't heard already. I tried to kind of find alternate routes with jobs and different fields and all that stuff, but it's just not been much luck there either. And that's kind of the main reason I go so hard on YouTube right now and don't give myself a lot of free time because even the gambling simulator that is YouTube, where I can barely tell whether I'm going to get $40 on a video or $1 on a video, it seems like a much more attainable goal than the current job market, really. It doesn't really help that there's nothing really near me locally for my career, but it's kind of tough to pick up my whole life and go somewhere else, not knowing if I'll be able to support myself if the company just decides, hey, we're only going to pay you $22 an hour. This basically limits me to hoping that if I get a job somewhere, I have to choose somewhere where I know people so I can end up having a roommate or something. It genuinely feels so just hopeless in my situation, but I have to keep trying, hoping it gets somewhere. You know, I apply every day, I try a bunch of things, and it just leads to nothing. I did mention that I'm only kind of unemployed, though. I was lucky enough to get like a contract job and kind of in my field in sophomore year of college, which is nice for money, and it seemed like a nice company, and I really wanted to work my way up to being a full-time employee, but that's been a dead end. You know, I can't really get any consistent work anymore. It feels like there's no opportunity for upward advancement into full or part-time work, despite my boss really vouching for me and pushing for me. And the work I'm able to get is just gradually being replaced by both AI and in-house work. It just sucks, man, but I still can't give up. So, how do you not give up? Well, if you're in college right now, don't be like me. Network, work on something. I know it sucks and you want to be able to enjoy your free time, but unfortunately in this economy, I don't think you are allowed to have free time anymore. It sucks. But yeah, make those connections, do it while you're in college now because if you don't, you're going to regret it. One thing I will give that isn't an ad or anything, it's just something I use a lot personally. It's an extension called Simplify. It helps make job applications not as horrible because it does a lot of the busy work and autofills a lot of stuff. I know it sounds kind of like I'm reading an ad right now, but I promise it's not. I would heavily recommend installing this because it makes job applications that would take me like 20 minutes, 30 minutes to finish, takes like 5, if that. It will make your life a lot less miserable. Now, as far as places to find a job, I'm going to go just from the worst stuff to the best stuff, in my opinion. I know this is ironic coming from someone that doesn't have a job right now, but I can speak on the little bit of success I had. Some of the places I think are kind of the worst, but I think still kind of worth doing are college job boards and just kind of other job boards like Indeed and stuff like that and LinkedIn. Anything with easy apply, you're basically sending your resume into a void. I don't think it ever gets read. As far as other job boards, it kind of really depends. You know, sometimes you'll have good luck, sometimes you don't. I really haven't had much success with a lot of them. Things that I think are solid but still not the best, I would say, are the specific Simplify job board and company websites. I know it sounds like I'm saying an ad again, but it's not. I think the reason why I specifically like this Simplify job board over some other ones is because it sends you directly to the company website to apply rather than applying directly on the job board, which I think personally, if you go to the company website and apply, you have a little bit of a higher chance of actually being seen because you kind of had to go through the effort to go directly to their system instead of going through this middleman. And what I think is the best personally are 3 things. Local job boards, if that's something you're looking for, career fairs, and networking. Local job boards actually got me the most recent interview I had, which I was not expecting. A lot of times you'll find jobs in there that like you don't even know that are open. So you can just apply to something and be able to just get ahead of everyone else. There was like an email list I could sign up for my local job board, and I was just able to sign up for it, and I got a huge list of jobs every week that I just kind of skim through and apply to whatever I think would work for me. Career fairs, I would honestly say, are the best. That's the reason I have this contract job right now, is because I had a really good conversation with my boss at the career fair. So much of the job process is just like not human anymore. So being able to have a human connection and make an impact just being you is something that you can't really take for granted. So if you have any local career fair, then absolutely go for it. And networking, honestly, the best way to get into a job right now is just knowing somebody. So if you have an ability to network with someone, no matter who it is, you absolutely should. Other tips though, apply to recent jobs and don't stress about anything old. You still can apply to it, but just don't waste your time like super stressing about it. I forget where I heard this, but I think it was like anything after the first 6 hours after a job goes live basically ends up getting ignored because there's just so many applications for everything. So you want to be right there on it as soon as you can. But don't be afraid to put in your name for anything older. Just temper your expectations. Also, don't let denials hurt you. It happens to literally everyone looking for a job right now. It feels like everybody right now is dealing with denial after denial after denial, either for lack of experience or just random reasons that they end up making up. It's nothing personal. We're all going through it, and that's the reason I'm kind of making this video, to kind of say you're not alone if you think that you are alone with how hard it is to find things right now. So just know that and try not to let it get to you too much. There's a lot of people that spend hours and hours applying to jobs every single day, and I don't think that's a very healthy or good thing to do. Just don't stress too much about it every single day. There's only so many openings out there, and some days will have more than others. I'd say just spend an hour applying to jobs here and there every single day, and don't stress about doing it over and over for hours, because it's just not worth it. You want to just be fresh for the next set of jobs the next day. And like I said, if you have the passion for projects and it applies to what you're doing, spend just as much time working on that as you are applying for jobs. It can show that experience that can help you stand out. It may not be professional experience, and some employers might look at it differently than others, but something is something, and having those skills sets you apart now. Is there really hope, though, for this job market? I'd say in the short term, hell no. I don't think anything's going to get better in the short term. Then in the long term, yeah, I hope so. But either way, you got to keep trying. Things will get better in time, but you got to keep your head high and realize that everybody's in the same boat. Just keep pushing on and hope for the best, and hope that you can get in somewhere and be able to make an impact. Yeah, that's kind of what I wanted to yap about. Not gamer related this time, but I don't know. It's just something I've been dealing with a lot. If you want to leave your own tips and comments in the comment section, feel free. I'm sure they'll be helpful to people, and, discuss, maybe make some networking yourself if that's even possible in the YouTube comments. But my name is Cass. Hope you have a nice day. Drink some water. Don't stress yourself out too much about this stuff today. Take some time for yourself, and peace out.